Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson with AstrologyMojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. Today we're talking about Mars entering the constellation of Cancer. So please stop by, say hello. I have a bunch of notes. I want to give you some keywords for each of the signs and some potential energy factors. And let's just remember, folks, that the planets aren't doing anything to us. We live in a cooperation. We can be influenced by anything: the weather, what you ate yesterday for lunch, the thoughts that you're thinking, most importantly. So, because we live in our own solar system with planets that revolve around the sun, there is a harmony, there's a synchronicity that happens. So, if one of the planets were to be blown out of orbit by an asteroid or something, yeah, we would feel that. But the planets are not conscious of their movements, so therefore they do not control you. So therefore, what planet would explain this thing sticking out of my hair? I don't know. None. So we're talking about Mars entering the sign of Cancer. And Mars represents, a little refresher if you are familiar with astrology, but you just need to bone up on it. Mars represents momentum. And it also represents the part of us that can be very passionate about something, that can be quick to anger, quick to temper, and then quick to solve the problem. It can be the part of us that is high vibe. Yeah, let's go do that thing. Roller coaster, sure. But in the sign of, and it also guides automobiles, machinery, warfare. So if you're holding in something emotional and energetic that you're not releasing or dealing with, it can come out sideways. And it can come out full blown, like, with a fist in your face. So, what we want to look at between September 4th, and well, today's the 5th, through November 4th, while Mars is in Cancer, is to really go into the emotional place where we have felt overdone, like we're toast, like it's too much. There's something going on. I don't know what else to do. I can't come up with the solution. I've got to. And then that's when the focus gets more and more narrow, and you're the one who's like doggedly going after the thing. We need to back it up. Just calm it down a little bit by releasing the intensity of the focus so that we can then bring to us the solution and look at the opportunity instead of the challenge. So watch the words that you use. Sarcasm is big with Mars and Cancer. We just want to be careful of that. Sarcasm is great for the stage if you're an entertainer. Other than that, sarcasm has no purpose in communication other than to belittle someone based on your frustration or your anger that's not being expressed in a healthy way. So let me just go through. I made a bunch of notes for the signs, and we're going to start with Aries, as Mars is Aries' celestial muse. So, and this is general. So if you know that you're an Aries rising, Aries would apply more to you than your sun sign, but listen for your sun and rising sign. Excuse me. And you'll get some basic tips on the energies that you can expect based on what you've been feeling and thinking, what you're holding in emotionally, what you feel passionate about, but yet have a fear around expressing it, or have just not been dealing with the emotional. Like you push it down, you're like, la, la, la. Okay, well, now's the time between today, September 5th, and November 4th. It's going to show itself. And how it will show itself is in what you attract to you. That is the absolute validation. You can look in the mirror and go, what are you feeling? What can we do? Why are you frustrated? What can we do? And work on all the tips that I've shown you throughout the years. But fastest way is what comes to you, because your energy is a magnet. You're the magnet for all things, folks. So during this Mars in Cancer phase, what you might experience is not what you're expecting. Woo, surprise. And I'm not saying it's negative. Could be positive. Could be you've put so much momentum into solving a problem that now all the solutions come to you at once. And you're like, what do I implement first? I don't know. Okay, let's start with Aries. Aries, remember, this is general and it applies to sun, rising, and moon, but moreover, the rising sign or the ascendant. Okay, so Mars in Cancer, and it depends on degree. It could be the next house, but in general, Mars in Cancer is going to show up in your fourth house, and that is home, family, feminine parent, or the maternal parent, the emotional foundations of you and your inner core values around that. And the keywords are sensitive, protective, parental, and possibly defensive. If someone comes into your home, you may feel kind of if they're a guest of a guest, you might feel like, oh, okay, you're gracious, but you're got your one eye on them with the stink eye going, I don't like their vibe. So you might be extra protective of your property right now, or need to be. Or someone in your neighborhood or the building or the apartment upstairs might be hammering at 10 o'clock at night, putting up pictures, and you just have had it. So you have to find a way to temper it and communicate more effectively. It's also, Aries, nurturing, impulsive moodiness, can just watch out for that. And you're home driven more, but your actions might be a little bit more guarded. So just be aware of that. Okay. Taurus, I'm just going to go briefly through these so you get the understanding of Mars in Cancer through November 4th. And Mars in Cancer for Taurus, it shows up in the third house in the general charts. And the third house is all about perceptions. Before you even open your mouth to talk, what is the belief system that is propelling those words forward? Avra Davra, Hebrew phrase, I create as I speak. Well, if you're ready to blow off steam, but then you don't know how to do that and it comes out sideways, that's not a very healthy expression. The third house also deals with siblings and epigenetics. It's like your immediate environment. And if you're teaching a class or studying something. So you might be poring over paperwork or things you've written, editing, and thinking, I don't know, is that too personal? Would that offend someone? No, that's my idea, and that's what I want to say. So you might have this like little Gollum voice in your head going back and forth. But you are more persistent regarding the nurturing of ideas. And you have to be careful of your emotional speech tone, because you may be thinking it's flowers and roses, but what comes out are thorns. You're security driven toward these types of discussions, like, oh, honey, maybe we should lock the door instead when we leave for the day instead of just leave it open. Or you hear of a neighbor who has security camera and they saw some really cool animals go by at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're thinking, oh, I wonder if we should get something like that for any reason, not just negative. Mars in Cancer for Taurus, very word specific, based on mood and emotion. Now, you might be guarded about or cautious when sharing your feelings, especially to siblings, because you don't want to set off a chain reaction. Or your local connections. You might want to just be aware of what you're saying and not be compelled by the impulse to just blurt something out. And because you're extra sensitive now, or need to be extra sensitive of what other people are talking about. And are you being asked? If you're not, you may not need to share. Or if you really feel like you need to share, don't do it publicly. Pull the person aside and say, you know something? I got a feeling when you were talking, and I'm just wondering, how are you? It sounds like you're frustrated. So we want to validate other people's feelings, Taurus Rising and moon. Okay, Gemini, moving on. Mars in Cancer shows up in the second house for you. And the second house deals with the income that you earn, the budgets, personal values, your possessions, feelings of security, but moreover, it's the value. What are you placing value on? And right now, with Mars and Cancer in the second house for you, it's a lot about emotional spending. So if you're going to an extreme because you're frustrated about something, or you just come to that place of, well, they got a promotion and I didn't, and I'm going to start looking for another job. But you do it quietly, passively, but from a place of aggression. That is not a naturally healthy place. So nurture your financial security by aligning your vibe to what you're spending your money on and why. Pardon. And your values are family oriented right now. You might be thinking, oh, I want to start an annuity for my family, or I want to put aside money for when I get pregnant. Maybe I want to hire a doula, whatever the thoughts are going through your head, Gemini, sun, rising, and moon. But be cautious right now. No emotional spending, really. That's the biggest takeaway from this. And your intuitive instincts are going to promote earnings, because you're very sensitive right now to financial fluctuations. And if you get into a defensive place of, well, I was working on estate planning with my brother, family, something. And you know what? Those people over there in my family, they could give a hoot about me or anything going on. Why would I put them in the will or the living trust? Or, so again, we're not coming from a defensive, angry place. We have to work that stuff out, because whatever your vibe is what you're going to be attracting. But once you work that stuff out, you'll know intuitively, oh yes, definitely, absolutely, from a place of compassion. So you're security driven right now toward your actions and protective of personal resources. So, okay, stay that way. That's good to be. Just be careful of the why when it comes to your money, earning and spending. Cancer. Wow. Okay. If you are a Cancer sun, rising, or moon, you might be prone to overdoing it, or you've been overdoing it. And now's when you lose your cool, you blow your lid, you get frustrated at the smallest things. You stub your toe and it's like, damn it, I was just trying on new shoes. What's the problem? So we again have to step away from the thing in front of us, back away from it, and settle down. Now, to tell yourself to settle down when you're in the thick of it, it's like trying to put out a huge blaze with a mister. That's not going to work. So just observe something that is calming. It could be the way the leaves are moving on the trees. It could be the sound of a bird chirping. Something very neutral to positive. Just keep it simple until that energy settles. Take a deep breath and realize not everything has to get done all at once right now. And if it does, ask for help. That is the biggest takeaway for you. Aside from this is about the first house in astrology. And this is yourself, your identity, your body parts. This is your approach to life. It's the me versus them attitude. In tarot, it would be the Two of Swords. So if you have resentment around doing something for someone else, don't do it right now. And if it's because someone's in need, a family member, and they're in the hospital, or someone needs a translation and the language, prioritize your tasks. But again, ask for help, or ask the person to please wait and be patient if it's not dire. Again, because unless the building's on fire, just relax, take a nice, the first and last thing you want to know, anyone listening, is that when someone's in a heightened state of terror or anxiety or panic, you don't tell them to relax. But before you get there, Cancer, sun, rising, and moon, tell yourself, you know what? The universe has my back. This is about nurturing self-expression. Emotionally driven actions. You're kind of like Gemini. So if you have a combo Gemini Cancer, even more so, no impulsive actions. You are protective of your identity right now, and you might take a defensive stance. Okay, understood, especially if it deals with online protection and passwords and such. But when it comes to being you, you might just create this whole scenario in your head before you even have a conversation with someone. And when you enter a conversation or a situation already pent up, ready to go, you're only going to attract what you put out. So just be careful. You do have on the positive end intuitive self-awareness, what your body needs, the food, the nurturing, the rest, the exercise, healthy exercise. Remember, this is mood-driven confidence. So you're going to have to take one step toward that rebounder, toward walking the dog, out instead of putting it off till later. These are things that are really going to help you. But this overall is a bold and simultaneously very vulnerable presence for you. So be open to the waves. You don't have to, go surfing, but you can also paddle. You can also lie down and let the waves take you and start trusting in something greater. Okay, Leo, Mars in Cancer in the 12th house is all about your subconscious self, hidden matters, spiritual growth, the subconscious parts of us and the psyche, what I like to call, when Pluto's around, is TNT for the psyche. And Pluto is in Capricorn, but it's about to head back into Aquarius for the duration of 19 years. And that is your opposite energy. So there's a push-pull between what you're thinking, what you believe to be true, and then how you imprison yourself in a thought system. So if Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon, you're working on getting out of a pattern, take it a little at a time. Emotional introspection is the key right now for you. And also being more sensitive to spirituality, meditating more, being in touch with what your body needs, not ignoring, no going to extremes, nurturing yourself, perhaps in secret. Like you're not going to tell anyone you're going for a massage or you're going to go do a yoga class. Just keep it to yourself. You may not have the need now to express all the time. Being hidden is your emotional driver right now. You want to go in and see what's true for you. You might feel guarded in the inner or the outer world. So I want you to pay attention to the subtle emotional defenses or the calibration of where what is the moment you go from happy to sad? Take a microscope and, I closed my eye and put it up to, take a look at your emotions through a microscope. And what is the moment that happened in between? Were you hungry? You just had a sugar crash? Were you thirsty and dehydrated and you couldn't process something intellectually? These are simple fixes, Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. Now we are looking at quiet assertiveness, family, karma, or psyche pattern awareness. This is a big time for that. And I would say your intuitive healing power, your mood-driven reflection is going to bring you to the definition of karma or the family patterns that, oh my gosh, I just realized I married my father. Or every time my brother and I or my best friend and I have that argument, I'm fighting a family member. It's the same thing that happened when I was 14 or when I was, oh, I'm seeing the pattern. So that's where you want to go, Leo. Okay. Because when you can see that, you can see it coming, you can feel it coming, and then you don't engage, you step to the right and you just created a new dimension. Woohoo. Virgo, Mars in Cancer for you is in the 11th house in the general charts. That's friends, associations, groups, social causes, some family members as well, but the people that you want to create dreams with. So with Mars in Cancer right now, you might feel a little bit more protective of your friends or guarded in social circles with newcomers. You are certainly more sensitive to the group dynamics, intuitive community involvement, being the solution without standing out in the crowd. It's like you want to hide, but tell somebody, if they just turn the page, they'd see the answer to that. And then that person says, if you just turn the page. So however you are presenting information to the group, make sure that you are not withholding emotional anything. And so work it out ahead of time. Or if you have to say something to someone in the group, this is the time to say it in iMessages. I really appreciate what you were saying, but the tone in which you said it made me question some things. Can we talk about that? And that can help the group dynamics as well. So this is protecting teamwork, Virgo. Cautious in new alliances, as I said. But I think at the end of the day, when all is said and done, is you're a team player and you want to know and step away. If somebody in the group is really annoying you, you can't change people. You can only change your feeling about people. So, and your attitude and your approach, and what is it that you are you being nitpicky? Are you trying to change them? This is what you have to determine for yourself. Remember, this is about protecting teamwork and nurturing friendships and alliances. Okay, Libra. Mars and Cancer in the 10th house, go team, go. This is all about career, reputation, masculine parent. Are you emulating this person? Your public life as well, the direction you want to take your world in. So let's talk for a second about what is the driver? What's the emotional driver here? And that is your public image. Are you guarded? Do you hang your head when someone says, will the real person who did this stand up? And people are nudging you like, that's you, stand up. And you may just want to hide right now. And that's okay. But maybe there's negative attention coming your way. And you need to own it. And maybe you just want to hide right now. And that's okay too. But the whole thing is to remember that you're not at fault. There's a group of people that you work with, and this is not about blame. This is more about finding where do you feel like someone is attacking your reputation? Are you defensive in authority situations? Are you the authority? Do they get snippety with you because, you turn your back and you're like, I wanted this done yesterday. What happened? That versus, oh gosh, I was hoping this could get done yesterday. What could we do? Or who here could solve the problem of getting it done today? So just watch your impulse to blame, please. Because you'll find you'll have a much better time doing that. You're very intuitive right now, Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon, with professional matters, like the kind of clients you do want to work with, who you can pass them off to, who else you can recommend. You don't have to take every client that comes in the door. You just don't. Or every offer that comes in the door. Or if a client comes back to you with more changes on the project and you're thinking, this is 4 times. They call that scope creep in my world in marketing. And it's like you pay for one thing and then they come back and say, oh, that was really great. Listen, I was just wondering the one more thing. And you go, oh, sure, no problem, because you're generous. And then you give them that and they come back and say, because of that, I wonder if we could change the thing. And it's like, okay. So before this happens, you want to set up parameters around your work. My time with you is for 30 minutes, or we can go an extra 5, but that's it. If you wanted to book another session, just let me know and I'll send you a link. Or I'm happy to make those changes. I will make 4 revisions or 3 revisions, and here's how that looks. So you want to set that up ahead of time, Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon. But bigger too, as well, equally, aside from being defensive with authority, even if you are the authority, is nurturing leadership. How can you be the leader we all want to follow, and be more sensitive to your own career goals? This is about the homework balance, and you might be mood driven, emotionally driven toward competition or ambition. And that's you. You're a cardinal energy, but you're definitely seeking security in your public life and to make sure you've got a job tomorrow, or to start trusting in the universe to show you what is coming. Okay. Okay. Next, that was Libra. Okay. Scorpio. I'm reading from my notes. Thanks. Hey, hi folks. Stop by. So good to see you too. Okay. Scorpio with Mars in Cancer. This is all about your ninth house in the general charts. If you're a Scorpio sun rising or moon, especially rising sign, this deals with philosophy, higher education, travel, contracts. It could deal with foreign matters, business matters, or you adopting some type of culture into your world. That's typically a Sagittarius gig, but you're going to take that on through November 4th right now. You are wisdom seeking through education and spiritual practices. Ooh. If you're a Scorpio and you're listening to this in a replay or live, let me know what that means for you. You might be a bit protective of your beliefs and or defensive of them when someone says, yeah, I heard that that kind of what is under scrutiny right now. Oh, CBD. Yeah, I heard that some of the CBD oil coming out of wherever is really not good for you. And you're like, what? I take that. It works great. It works fine. So you just want to watch your defensive behavior, Scorpio, even if you're not vocalizing it. Internally, you might be thinking someone just crossed a boundary. That was so inappropriate. Why would they do that? And your mind is blown because you would not do something like whatever that is. So you're defensive about your principles, but let's use a different word. You are protective in wanting to uphold a standard that other people may not adhere to. That was a mouthful. So you're also very sensitive right now, Scorpio, to global matters. You might be campaigning, you might be petitioning for aid in Ukraine, or to really make peace with the people who are from Israel or Palestine, and wondering, okay, I have family in Israel, but I also worked with someone from Palestine and they're not bad people and neither are they. What is happening? What do I believe, Scorpio? What is it that you want to uphold like a champion and help others with? So I want you to be very careful, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. If you are traveling, just have extra insurance in place. I don't feel anything negative coming, but if you're holding emotions where suddenly you are held, this happened to me. And I'm just so like, la, 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 love life like a golden retriever. And I get pulled aside by the, I don't even know what you call them anymore, heading into a different country that spoke English. And they looked at me, looked at my passport back and forth. And they were like, we'll need to see you in the back room. And I was like, okay, what? Well, it turned out I was working in a different country, and they were questioning what I did. What products was I bringing? Was I selling? How much money was I making? And I was just like, I'm just going to do a bunch of readings and talk on stage somewhere. And they were like, no smiles. And I suddenly felt attacked, but then I realized they were being protective of commerce incoming and outgoing from their country. So I relaxed my posture, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon. And I said, I was asked to speak on these topics. And if anyone buys my products, and here you can see in my suitcase, because they went through my suitcase, I had meditations and a workbook. I will be paying taxes on this in the United States. And plus, if anyone charges a credit card from your country, that gets worked out in fees as well. So they were okay with that. And then they let me go. But it like startled me. It's not like I was smuggling anything, right? So Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon, just be aware if you're traveling to a different country, what their rules and regulations are, and abide by them. That's all. So security comes with you in exploration or creating safety policies. You might be an attorney and you might be international law. You might be creating safety policies for travelers. So that's also a little thing that just popped right in. But overall, Scorpio, sun, rising, and moon, you are nurturing your intellectual and spiritual growth with Mars in Cancer and not getting defensive about it. That's it. What's the opposite of defensive? Not offensive. That's almost the same. But for Scorpio energy, what is the opposite of being, hidden and secretive? It is sharing, communing, and understanding that other people might need to know that you are safe. You're safe, especially if you're changing your policies. If you work with, if you have international clients, let them know you've done all the research and you're good to go. Okay, Sagittarius, sun, rising, and moon. Mars in Cancer is in the eighth house. Okay. The eighth house deals with spiritual connection, shared resources, estate planning, death, sex, and taxes. So I would say you're more protective right now of intimacy, wanting to really be open with your partner, but suddenly guarding that emotional depth. Maybe you feel like, the spotlight is on you now. And so more meditation is required. Let's look at estate planning and your resources. What are you doing there? You want to nurture transformation and possible sexual healing if you've ever been abused or you were frightened on some level, so that you do feel safe. And you definitely are going to be more passionate about joint ventures right now, taken care of all the previous things we just talked about. Your mood driven intensity is all about learning security in vulnerability. Yeah, that pretty much says it all in the eighth house, because it doesn't matter what the resources are: money, sex, holding hands, starting a business with someone, meditating, inviting your team and spirit across time, space, dimension, and experience. You want to feel safe. That's it. And you might need to defend a little bit more or protect your things you really don't want to share. Don't feel forced to. But the emotional transformation is huge right now, Sag. Okay, Capricorn, Mars and Cancer in the seventh house. It's all about partnerships. And relationships, yes, marital partners, business partnerships, your number one fans, and any adversaries or, dare I say it, enemies. I don't know who that would be for, but this is about you being protective of partners right now, sensitive to partners' needs. My husband is a Cancer. I'm a Capricorn rising. This morning, I watched him spinning in infinity. 17 projects. He was working on 3 travel arrangements, 3 different trips all at once. And he wasn't talking. He was going more and more inward. And I said, okay, honey, you know what? I already made your breakfast and I started making your lunch. What else can I do? How can I help you? And he looked at me and he was like, I was about to snap. And I go, I know. I could feel it. And so he calmed down. He got the nutrients he needed. And I said, go listen to when I talk about Cancer. Through November 4th, Capricorn, being sensitive to your partner's needs and also business partner's needs. It takes communication. It doesn't take you owning it and saying, yeah, okay, I'll do it. No problem. I'll do it. No, because then you're going to build up the frustration. If you're guarded in emotion with your emotions in personal relationships, you want to nurture the commitment. Why are you two together? Why are you and your clients together? What are you doing for them? If they come back to you and say, that thing you had me do, I was really upset, or I didn't relate to it at all. I don't get it. What is that about? And instead of getting defensive or thinking you've done something wrong, Capricorn, Sun, Rising, and Moon, how about you just take a deep breath and say, this is their experience. And you would like to help further their commitment to nurturing themselves right now. Let's go there, because the emotional closeness that you can get and gather by saying, I know exactly how you feel. Or if you don't know how they feel, you can say, I completely understand your thinking. Your mood driven toward communication right now and emotional closeness. So partnerships are going to matter a lot during this time. Teamwork, vendors, marital partners, even if you're single and you're dating, that too, clients that you've had and might come back into the picture and saying, I know I did that thing and it worked, and now I've got this going on. How can you help me? So you want to be honest. You want to communicate and say, let me think about it for a day or two, and then I'll get back to you. So you might actually attract Capricorn, Sun, Rising, and Moon. You're going to gain security through cooperation with others, teamwork, yay. But you also might attract people seeking these things or undergoing these issues. So you may feel really great about your partnerships, but again, a friend comes and says, I know, I just took on a partner and this thing came up. I don't know what to do. Have you ever had this? And you can say, I think I know how you feel right now. Let's look at the options. So but remember, Capricorn, don't take it on. It's not always yours. Okay. It's not for you to take on, but it is for you to ruminate and feel and raise your level of intuition with partners so that you can really know, if you know, and say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm willing to help you find out. Let's do this together. We can hold hands and skip. Aquarius. I know this is like speed dating. I have a doctor's appointment, so I wanted to get all this in ahead of time. How is everyone doing? I will come by and say hello in just a moment. Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon. Mars and Cancer in the 6th house in the general charts. Okay, number 1, it is about health. Then it's about your routines, procedures, how you sit when you work. Are you craning? Are you just holding in the energy without realizing, oh, my shoulders are killing me because I had a project and I didn't want to not do it, so we have to just relax. What is your service to the world? It's not everybody. You're not servicing everyone. Be the best that you can be. And you've just done that by 90,000 people. You focus on you meditate, you do some exercise, you eat really well for your body, you cut down on the carbs, cut down on the dairy and the sugar. This is a Cancer vibe we're talking about, and Mars. And when you do that, you say, you know what? And our daughter, who is 25, is an Aquarius rising, Cancer moon. So they went through an emotional thing last week and they said, I've stopped doing this one thing that I know hurts my body. And they have been very consistent for the past year and a half going to the gym to do bouldering. They are ripped they look like a supermodel. And they're tall, they're blonde. Yeah, we don't know. My husband and I are not blonde. But they know better now not to do that. And that if they're having a rough time, they sit down with their cat and they talk to the boyfriend and they watch a show that makes them feel good. They know they're eating well. They are working out, and now they just have to deflate the energy. So protective of health is number 1. Protect your health. If you know something is not good for you, Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon, don't do it. If there are versions or alterations you can do, like I have done, I don't eat sugar except a couple of strawberries and 3 cherry tomatoes at most a day. But I have replaced, because everything you put into your body turns to glucose. So I get my sugar. I just don't eat sugar. But what you can do is find healthy replacements for the thing that you used to do. When I knew someone who was quitting alcohol, they found these herbs and combinations that acted like, they didn't have THC in them or CBD, but they were these, adaptogenic herbs that helped them to feel like, that just took the edge off and I can still focus and I'm not hungover and I didn't hurt my liver. So there are things that you can do. Okay, so back to my notes. So be careful, Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon, of cravings for dairy or carbs. Protective of health, it relies on that. And any stomach related issues means your gut, your second brain, is trying to process something, either the stress, the cortisol, the food you just ate, the lack of nutrition, or the overabundance of something. And so you're just gonna, you're not going to soothe anymore with those old replacements. Now you're going to do something new and healthy. So, and you might switch to keto and start learning how to do these things. But I don't mean eating like 30 keto bombs in a sitting. No, it's tempering extremes. So you're more sensitive right now, Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon, to service roles or nurturing coworkers. And maybe offering up a solution if you see someone stressed out. You're like, I just made keto cookies. Who wants one? Mars and Cancer in the workplace is either everybody's grumbling at one another. Who took my stapler? I heard that once when I worked in an office, and I was like, she's having a bad year, because every day it was like, who has my paper clips? And I was like, oh my God, for Christmas, I'm going to get you office supplies and just put your name on them. with your in your lunchbox, and and so you can hear temper tantrums like a little kid coming out of people. But the home-like environment at work is going to work for you, Aquarius, Sun, Rising, Moon. So if you're a freelancer, set it up the way you want. At work, set it up like it's your home. And I don't mean messy. It's like you put a crystal on your desk and you have that cute little mushroom lamp that lights up, it's what do you call it? Rock salt, that kind of thing, Himalayan salt, mushroom lamp on your desk at work. So make the home work environment conducive to you. And the security you have right now is through the structure that you organize so that you can be you in your most eccentric humanitarian way. Also, a pet might have a need, could be stomach issues, that's Cancer energy. Mars could be the head or blood issues, could be they cut themselves, or they can't stomach that new food you gave them and they're vomiting, or they're just not feeling well. So you just pay attention if you've got pets. Okay, Pisces, last but not least. Mars in Cancer takes place for you in the general charts in the 5th house in astrology. And I'd say this is the funnest house. This is you got the best one right now. And because Cancer is a water sign just like you, but different expression, I would say this does have to do with creativity, romance, and children, but it has to do with you creating something. You creating something near and dear to your heart. Maybe it's putting together a photo album of all the women in your family. Wouldn't that be cool? Or not. Maybe it's understanding that your grandchildren, your children, your grandchildren are your lineage. What do you want to do with them right now? Play. How do you want to play? Create something with them that's of sentimental value. Now, Cancer and the moon also deal with children and creativity, intuition, writing as well. So you might want to start documenting little phrases that come out of your kids' mouths or their grandkids' mouths. There's this woman on Instagram and she quotes her 4-year-old. She dresses up and she'll say things my 4-year-old has said today. I am the princess of the clay land, and I have the solution for your illness, and you must, and it makes me laugh. So it's like you might want to do something like that, or teach them music, or all together do something. Now, if you don't have kids, you don't have grandkids, there's no little kids around you, you can find ways to play. This, with Mars and Cancer, Pisces, Sun, Rising, and Moon, you might even feel more secretive about some creative projects, but with emotional sensitivity, like you are creating something for the family, maybe for a holiday or a birthday, and you don't want anyone to know. And you're putting something together that they will treasure and value because it came from the heart. Instead of buying a sweater, you're making one. You learned how to crochet and you're making a sweater. I mean, you will bring tears to people's eyes when you find that one photograph that they loved when they were in 5th grade and you blow it up and then you make, you write a poem around it, something, whatever, anything like that. My kid is even designing tarot cards, Cancer moon, but they're not a Pisces. But I don't know why I said that. I have to think of Pisces. I know musicians are creating song with groups. But anyway, you have emotionally sensitive, creative moments now between now and November, and a lot of intuitive playfulness. So let's take the kids out of the picture, keep the creativity in the picture. Now let's look at romance. Romance can be something that is sweet and romantic and without words. It can be you suddenly, hang beautiful fabric from the ceiling, put on Turkish music, and say to your partner, we're going to go to Morocco in our minds, and then have this delicious feast of sensuality. I can say those words publicly, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay. So nurture the romance. You're more sensitive to protecting yourself against angry partners. By the way, if you have an angry partner, you need to open your mouth. You need to say, that's not okay. Don't take it out on me. Yeah, you get it? And you must learn to express your anger with partners in a healthy way, not wait, build it up, build it up, build it out, and come out sideways and tear out of the parking lot and leave them standing in front of the store because you're pissed off. No, it's time to grow emotionally with partners. So if the child in you is holding something, do a little exercise, a writing exercise, left hand, right hand. It's like, hi, how old are you? Oh, I'm 3. How do you feel, 3? Well, let's talk about it. So you work that out so it doesn't come out, I know so many adults who are actually repressed children, right? And then that comes out sideways. Mars and Cancer on the global stage. Well, wait, before we even go there. Pisces, sun, rising, and moon. You are a mood driven toward fun, and you will find security in passion. All right, we tied that up with a little bow. And now on the global stage, Mars and Cancer is upsets. There are so many upsets, no surprise, political seasons. Upsets in how things are done, policies that are made, expressions, reactions, emotional, indignance. I don't even know the words that are tumbling out of my mouth. It's like, no, people going, no. I think everyone ought to watch Inside Out, number 1, and then Inside Out, the second one, and learn that sadness is part of feeling. Holding it in and getting angry, because anger is always a cover up for sadness, is kind of passe. We know how to get beyond that, don't we? Yes, we do. That's why we're listening to things like this. So I want you to take this Mars in Cancer energy, take a nice deep breath, find something that grounds you outside, put your hand on a tree. They will gladly take it and recycle it and come back to you with, oh, I'm so happy to be breathing air. Thank you for the oxygen. And then start listing off your gratitudes. Mars and Cancer, list off your gratitudes. I'm grateful for my half and half. That's organic and lactose free. right here in my cup. So, all right, folks, thank you for being here. Check out my Facebook page to see I list what I'm going to be talking about in the weeks to come. So I will see you next Thursday. Please remember to stay present. Stay so present. Be so kind to yourself and others. And as always, I wish you peace. Thank you for being here, folks. I'll see you next time.